Hey yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome to My Yoga Time. Today's yin class is a part of the Meridian series and we're focusing on the bladder and the kidney meridians. So the bladder meridian is also known as the guardian of peace. It is the longest energy channel in the body, holding a reservoir of vitality, which is capable of nourishing the whole body through the life force of water. So bladder chi or energy is associated with motivation, ambition, and endurance, enabling us to see things through. So the kidneys empower the movement of water and influence our purpose, creativity, and vitality. So kidney chi or prana is much like a battery, controlling and helping with our development on a cellular level. So the element associated with kidney and bladder meridians is that of water. And as such, I'm going to encourage you to use the Buddhi mudra today. So our little finger represents communication and water. And when we connect the tip of the little finger to the tip of the thumb, it signifies fluid communication and access to inner knowledge. So in today's class, I do have 2 blocks close by. I've also got a bolster, though you don't need a bolster to practice this class. If you would like to improvise with that particular pose, you can use a blanket or a rolled up blanket or a pillow that's folded over. But certainly that pose, you don't even need that prop at all. You can practice just flat on your stomach. So there are 67 acupressure or acupuncture points along the bladder meridian, being the longest energy channel in the body. Today we're going to work with BL40. So this one is behind the knees. So look for that crease behind your knees, and then we're going to the center and finding a spot in between those 2 tendons. So for most people, it will be a little tender and you should feel a slight depression. So once you find that spot, just applying a little bit of pressure, maybe a little circular motion. So this energy release point is also known as the whale of grief. So our emotions, they're fluid in nature. They change direction much like the water. And if our emotions become stuck, then the heavier emotions can sometimes build and fester, and then there's no room left for joy, bliss, and happiness. So this point is said to empower stability through the movement of changing emotions. Now practice. So you will need to position your mat next to the wall, and we're going to come down, taking our legs up the wall. Have your blocks close by. Sitting with one hip next to the wall. So bring your bottom in contact to the wall, then as you lower your shoulders, swinging those legs up. Once in position, you don't have to have full contact between your bottom and the wall. And in fact, if you tie it through the hamstrings and the back, you will prefer a little space. Once you are in position, let's bend those knees, press the feet into the wall, lift your hips, and placing either one block on the flat side or maybe 2 blocks stacked on top of one another underneath your low back. So your arms can rest out to the side or even above the head if you prefer. And let's connect the tip of the pinky finger to the thumb for Buddhi mudra. Closing the eyes down. Positioning the tip of the tongue gently where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth. Keeping the jaw relaxed, though finding a gentle tone through the back of your throat. So this posture is a lovely pose to practice for the bladder meridian. We're running along the back side of the body. And you might even like to visualize the breath moving in a wave-like motion through the body. Inhaling from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. And pause. And exhaling from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head. And each time your mind wanders, just guiding it back to the ebb and flow of your breath. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And can you witness all 3 breaths without the mind chatter distracting you? And releasing the pose when you're ready, bending those knees, pressing the feet into the wall, lift the hips, remove your blocks. When you touch down, coming into butterfly legs, soles of the feet to connect, knees to fall out wide. Starting to tap into the kidney meridian now, running through the inner legs. Taking those arms out to the side, finding your mudra once again. And be with the ebb and flow of your breath, moving the body. Let's inhale those knees together. We'll take a reclined pigeon on the wall, so straightening your right leg, placing your left ankle on the front of the right leg, either above or below the knee, depending on your hips. Here is option 1, a little deeper if you bend that right leg as well, bringing the sole of the foot to the wall. But don't let your bottom lift up off the mat, keep anchoring down. Feel free again to take arms out to the side or above the head, finding your mudra. And let's release. Placing one block now in between your thighs, we're going to come into a twist over to your right. So keeping the soles of the feet on the wall and resting your right leg on the floor. And if it doesn't meet the floor, prop it up with your block or your pillow if you've got one close by. And if this left shoulder is lifting up too high, you can always use a block under there for support, or bring that arm down next to the back instead of having it out to the side. Reconnecting the little finger to the thumb. And moving the back of the head a little to the right before turning the head to the left. And breathing down into the navel, into the back. In just a moment, we'll bring those legs back to center. Let's protect the back as we transition. So toning through your lower belly, engaging Mula Bandha. And once those legs come back to center, remove the block and take reclined pigeon on the right side. Keep anchoring down through your tailbone. Breathing into the outer hip. And releasing this pose, once again, blocking between the thighs, twisting to the left this time. Moving the back of the head to the left before turning the head to the right. And breathing down into the lower body, feeling the body expand on the inhalation. Take a moment to pause to hold the breath before you exhale very slowly. And from here, let's roll onto the left side. You can remove the block. Take a brief moment in the fetal position before pushing yourself up to seated. So I quite like after that wall sequence to just take a few cat-cow stretches just to notice how you're feeling through your back and through the hips. So from tabletop, let's inhale, find your back bend, and exhale to round. And let's return to a neutral position. So the next posture we're not going to hold for too long. Coming into our toe squat, a nemesis for many. So some of you might like to move the little pinky toes to the side. If this is not an option for you due to knees or ankles, feel free to skip it. We won't be here for too long anyhow. If you are here and you feel like you need a little support, you can always place your blocks underneath the knees, bringing the knees up that little bit higher. Hands feel free to rest on the lap, or of course, you can take Buddhi Mudra. Keeping the jaw relaxed. Breathing into the soles of the feet. All of the meridians for the lower body actually run through the feet. So this one's not only therapeutic for the kidney and the bladder, and let's release. Feel free to give those feet a little tap. And from here, we'll come into a seated forward fold. So So if it's available for you just to fold forward, resting your head on the block, do so. For many, they'll feel better if they bend the knees. So you could place blocks under the knees, your bolster, pillow, rolled up towel. If you don't have much range of motion, you can always bring over a chair and just hinge towards the chair. If you are able to position the palms facing up, assuming you're not using the chair, and then finding your mudra. You might like to imagine that the body is a bouncing buoy afloat in the water. On the inhalation, feel the back expand and rise, floating to the surface. Taking a moment to pause there before you exhale and sink a little deeper. So most yogis will feel better if they stay here as you are in a seated forward fold. There may be a couple of you that can, with ease, come down onto your back and bring your legs overhead. This is not an option if you have any concerns with your neck. Only coming into this position if it is truly comfortable. And wherever you are, breathing into the back side of the body. So for yogis in their seated forward fold, follow your next inhalation, coming out very slowly, and bringing yourself down onto your back. Yogis with their legs overhead, let's bend the knees. Keep the head on the mat as you slowly roll out. We'll take a very brief moment in Shavasana. If you need longer here, please take it. Otherwise, we'll look to stabilize the spine with just a little core work. Bending those knees and stacking the knees above the hips, pushing your back down into the mat. Removing any space between your back and the mat. From here, we'll take the hands underneath the bottom and straighten the legs. Press through the balls of the feet. Lift the head up off the mat, drishti is your toes. Slowly lower those legs. Holding an inch or two above the mat, and then hinging your way up to seated. So next posture, yogis, is a seated wide-legged forward fold, and this for many might not be an option. So you always have the option to recline, take your legs up the wall and let those legs come wide. If you're tight through the hips, sit yourself up on a block. If you need to lighten the pose, you can bend the knees. Blocks can go underneath the knees. You can always bring a chair over and just fold to the chair. Otherwise, if it's available for you, coming down as far as you can, maybe stacking 1 or 2 blocks. Once into position, let's turn those palms up, find your mudra. And when the mind wanders, guiding it back to the ebb and flow of your breath. If you're in a seated position, follow your next inhalation out of the pose. If you're reclined, use your hands to help those legs come together. If you're seated, hands underneath the knees. A little squeeze. So the next posture will come into our Sphinx pose. So coming down into the navel, and most of you might be in this position. If you need to lighten the pose, move those elbows a little further away from the ribs or take the feet a little bit wider. Alternatively, for a deeper Sphinx, you can use your bolster, your rolled up pillow, or your towel. So the navel is coming onto your prop, and you will need your 2 blocks underneath the forearms. So you might choose to keep the chin parallel to the floor. If you need to support the head and neck, you can take your hands to the jaw or frame the face. And feeling your navel and the whole body gently rocking against the mat or your prop, moving with the breath. So if you're laying flat on your navel, feel free to lower down, turn your head to one side and take a brief rest. If you are on your other props, let's push back. Take a very brief child's pose. I like to have one block with me just to place underneath the forehead so that the spine is in a fairly neutral position. And let's lift up to a seated position when you're ready. So next posture is reclined butterfly pose. Of course, you could use your bolster if you've got it close by. I'm going to use my blocks, creating a T shape. Now, of course, if you need to lighten this, you could have the blocks on the flattest height. I'm going neutral on the second height. If you've got the block on the second height under the shoulders and it's a little too much, you can always take the block under the head higher again. Once into position, let's bring the feet together and allow the knees to fall out wide. Take the arms out to the side as high as they'll comfortably go and find your mudra. Breathing down into the hips and thighs and pause. And as you exhale, relaxing the back, softening into the pose. And when you're ready to release the pose, let's bring those knees together. Turn the palms down, tucking in the chin, come halfway up, remove your props. And lower down onto your back, coming into Shavasana. And you could choose to lay flat here, or of course place your bolster behind your knees or your blocks. One under each leg, either the knees or the hamstrings. Tucking the shoulders under, taking your mudra. Softening the forehead, letting the eyes roll back. Tongue and jaw relax. And as you drift into Shavasana, inhale peace. Exhale release. Inhaling peace. Exhale release. And inhaling a little deeper now to bring your awareness back. Feel free to wiggle the toes and fingers. Rocking your head from side to side. Or swallowing if the mouth is dry. Follow any urges to move or stretch before rolling onto your side and bringing yourself to seated. Let's bring our hands to prayer. Raise the hands to the third eye center for clarity of thought. Lower fingertips to the lips for purity and honesty in our speech, and hands to the heart center for love and compassion in all that we do. Thanks, yogis. I hope you enjoyed the class. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It's the best way to support free yoga on YouTube. Have a lovely day.